Welcome everyone to the Q&A for this week. We're going to talk about the nervous system and how it functions. Our nervous system is an absolutely critical part. It is also fragile and very complex, but it is very rebuildable and actually quite resilient. We live in a world where the nervous system is under constant attack from chemicals, from electromagnetic, from other things, and it's causing damage to a lot of people. I end up getting nervous system challenges frequently, including from viruses, from physical damage, and it can cause anything from paralysis to neuropathy to tingling. Our vision may be a nervous system issue in many cases. The same with our hearing, because both of those are connected with nerves. It might cause a headache or a toothache, pain or malfunction on any system of the body. I will mention here that our nervous system, while it connects many things, it is not our complete response system. We actually are beings of light, and so we're getting feedback through light channels that are making instant feedback in our body. So let's recognize that the nervous system is part of our feedback system, but really our light system is giving us much faster feedback than the nervous system. Pain. Pain is feedback. Pain is welcome, if we can look at it that way, because pain gives us feedback to let us know that something needs attention. And if we can welcome feedback and say, oh, I'm glad I'm getting this feedback, we actually will look for the solution rather than try and stop the feedback. Because stopping the feedback is like putting a piece of tape over the red light on the dashboard that's saying, hey, you're low on oil. We haven't corrected the problem. We just stopped the feedback, and then we don't check the oil, we don't change the oil, and we eventually have a total failure of that engine. Well, the same on our body. We need to find the solution or find the cause and solve it. And in the nervous system, we absolutely can find the cause and solve it. So I'm going to talk today about the solutions for most of these questions. Is this pain from a nerve that's damaged or a nerve sheath that is damaged? Is this pain or feedback from the body saying, hey, I need materials to repair this? Is it something that's actually structural? Is it because there's pressure on a nerve, like the sciatic nerve or carpal tunnel syndrome in the wrist? And if it's pressure on that nerve, then you can solve that very, very quickly with the right materials. There may be emotional inputs that are causing that pain, or a block that's creating an out of balance issue. Using muscle testing to find the cause of the pain may not immediately find it. We have to keep digging down. It might not be the presenting issue. In other words, pain in the neck might be actually a blocked colon refractive or reflexive action, something like that. And so, yes, record what you're finding with your muscle testing and keep looking until you find 100% of the causes of that pain, and then take action on it. Or, of course, you can ask for help finding that and ask for someone else with proxy muscle testing to help you find the cause of the pain. Then what do we need to know to rebuild? Some of the areas that actually can create additional nerve damage or nerve lack of responsiveness is heavy metals. Heavy metals would be like laying a sharp object over a group of wires and shorting them together. that can create some of those problems. Heavy metals can also damage the ability for our friendly bacteria to be able to take care of the things, the nutrients we need, and that can cause damage. So heavy metals is one of the earlier ones that we check. We can check if something that's coming in, either food or drink or chemicals from the outside, are coming in and contributing to a pain. We can check that it's a system that's caused damage. Is the pancreas not putting out enough glycogen, but too much insulin, and so the blood sugar is too high or too low? And neuropathy as a result of high blood sugar, which also has a food input on that one. Are there neurotoxins in the food or in the air or in the environment? I've had that kind of damage from glyphosate or from the chemicals that are being sprayed on the ground. So ensure also, after you've found the causes, we ensure that all of the systems are online, including the nervous system, and that all functions of the brain are online. And then we check to see if the nervous system needs support with herbal or nutritional support. If we can find the cause and correct it, let's talk about some of those causes. For example, infection might be a cause. Infection based on a bacterial or a viral illness. And in that case, we use what this picture is showing to clear the illness with herbs checklist and process. Are they toxins in the diet or in the environment? Find it and clear those toxins out. Quick story of significant nerve damage that I suffered one time. We were out walking in the morning. It was a foggy, cloudy day, wind was blowing, and apparently someone had sprayed their entire side yard with weed killer, with Roundup or glyphosate. And that was still in the air, hit the side of my face and created an extreme nerve damage across the entire side of my face. I felt the wet hit me, and within just a few hours, that entire side of my face was just extremely in pain and nerve damage. And so it took days of everything I could do to clear the toxins and to get the nerves repairing and rebuilding, and lots of pain. So it may be an external toxin that's creating the issue. We mentioned heavy metals. We need to go through the checklist, find them and clear them. I'll mention a little bit more on that in a minute. Change the diet if it's a blood sugar damage issue, and heal the pancreas and change the blood sugar settings. There's actually 3 steps there. Got another whole presentation that talks more about blood sugar, but that may be a cause. Is there structural pressure on that nerve? Then we need to rebuild the back or a joint and maybe get help, chiropractic or functional help, taking the pressure off of that nerve or back or joint that's pinching the nerve or creating pressure on the nerve. It may also just be a crushed nerve that's creating damage to the nerve sheath, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So lots of troubleshooting on the nervous system to make sure we're finding the whole challenge and not trying to turn it off. We definitely do not want to turn off that feedback. So once we've found the challenge, let's talk about some of the options for solutions. To rebuild nerves, the mind track formula, again, I'm talking to Dr. Christopher's formulas because I know them the best. There probably are other manufacturers' formulas that will do the same things. I just am not as familiar with them. I am not a Dr. Christopher representative, even though that's the products that I'm directly showing. So mind track for brain challenges, brain damage, including depression, including anxiety, including some of the other brain challenges. In children, the same formula as kitty track, or nearly the same formula. For attention deficit disorder, for autism, kitty track is one of those possible ones to make a difference. And then Relaxease comes in capsules, in liquid, and in bulk format. If we're doing major nerve rebuild, I bought the bulk and was going through spoonfuls of it in the nerve damage. So matching your own need, just knowing the products. I'll mention the Relaxease we've already mentioned, but these are the ones you would muscle test against. If it is ear, you might need the ear and nerve formula in the ear. I always put garlic with that one, and a garlic oil. Make sure that we're killing infection if there is one there. Note that the ear and nerve formula going in the ear may also be needed for other types of damage in the head, like eye, rebuilding the eye nerves. I've used the ear and nerve formula because it goes in and gets closer and is moving from the inside. Valerian nerve is one to test for. The ANTSP, or antispasmodic formula, is one to test for, and the nerve formula is one to test for. Let me mention just a story about a few of these so that we can see some times when we might test for it. Relaxease, I'll tell some stories about teeth damage or teeth pain with Relaxease in a moment. But Relaxease is broad spectrum nerve rebuilding, including if there's just the inability to sleep at night. And Relaxease, for a lot of people, actually help calm down the body, get the body ready for sleep. You'll notice on a later slide, I mentioned that calcium is needed also for sleep and to calm down the pain that comes from overfiring nerves. We've mentioned on the ear nerve that it can be used for hearing loss, but also for eye damage very often. Valerian nerve is often thought of as calming the nerves to get sleep also, but I found other cases where valerian nerve would calm down the nervous system and allow it to rebuild for other causes. The ANTSP formula, specifically formulated for epilepsy, misfiring nerves, those kinds of things. I'll tell just kind of a funny story on the ANTSP formula, although I've had clients that had long-term epilepsy and calmed it down very much with the antispasmodic formula. For years, I served as a scout leader, Boy Scout leader. And at one of the campouts, I had one of the boys come to me and say, I can't feel my hand and I've got pain shooting down from my elbow into my hand and it's just tingling. And I said, so what were you doing? Oh, we were playing bludgeon, which means they have broomsticks that they had put a pool noodle over and they were hitting each other with it. And he got hit in the funny bone. They're supposed to be doing sword fighting, but they get pretty rough with those things. And he had gotten hit in the funny bone in the elbow and it hadn't recovered. It had been about 2 hours. And so I always had my herb bag with me on those scout outings. And I was thinking through and going, what will work? And you say a silent prayer and you ask what will work to help this young man to recover. Well, the ANTSP, or antispasmodic formula, came to mind. And so I got it out of my herb bag, a couple of dropperfuls in a glass of water. He drank it down. Yuck, it tasted terrible. He didn't want to take it down, but he'd already drank it. Well, I said, just go, see how it goes. Well, it wasn't 20 or 30 minutes later, I saw him chasing another boy and they were running and playing with those bludgeon sticks again. So obviously he had his full hand capability back because he could now grab that stick again and go back to playing. The ANTSP formula is very, very rapid in its reaction on calming down the spasms. The other one to test for is the nerve formula, a slightly different formula than Relax-Ease and the others, and very, very powerful in its action. We mentioned calcium. Calcium is critical to rebuild the nerve and also the nerve sheath. So in addition to testing for the nerve rebuilders, test for calcium. Calcium can come as herbal calcium, kitty calc, a liquid calcium of herbal calcium, or calc T as a bulk cut or bulk powder, 16 ounce. Now, if you're making calc T as bulk cut, that is a 20 to 30 minute simmer. Bring it to a boil, a quarter cup of the cut bulk in about 2 quarts of water. Bring it to a boil, simmer for 20 to 30 minutes, strain it, and then it's got a lot more available calcium than the other formulas. That one's critical. That one is often forgotten too. You've got to have enough calcium to rebuild that nerve sheath and to rebuild the nerve. We also need the omega oils for nerve rebuild. And that can come from fish oil. It can come from vegetables like spinach, broccoli, or Brussels sprouts. It can also come from the nuts and seeds like chia, hemp, flax, walnut. And this picture that I borrowed has a lot of those listed. You'll notice that eggs have quite a bit of omega-3s in them. Walnuts, look at that. 2.7 grams per 30-gram serving, whereas fish of all kinds has roughly the same. So walnuts, other nuts are the same. Flaxseed is also pretty high in the amount of omegas that it has. And so for repairing nerves, just using the 3 elements, omegas, calcium, and then the herbal nerve repair is very, very helpful and very fast in my experience. We have to ensure the heavy metals are cleared. I mentioned that in the overview. We can find them and clear them out by commanding them to clear one at a time. We usually need a proxy help to do that. I do that as part of the overall, as you're aware. Or we can do it by herbal chelation. Now, I chelated herbs for years and years and years. I had an overabundance of heavy metals in myself. Dr. Christopher's heavy mineral bugleweed formula works, cilantro works, using muscle testing to find out what is needed for individual. And then with that process, we need to use some kind of a bloodstream cleanser, either the bloodstream formula or one of the bloodstream cleansing herbs like chaparral or red raspberry leaf or one of the others that will clear out the bloodstream. Or by commanding them, we can have them clear pretty quickly because our stewardship over our body is complete in this one. Let's not forget overall nutrition. Eat fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and grains in their whole state and in season. That meets the foundational level of nutrition. And then the herbs are going directly to the rebuild instead of meeting nutritional needs. If we're unable to get all the nutrition, maybe winter, or just our diet isn't sufficient, or we're trying to speed things up, sometimes Jurassic Green is a supplement that comes in capsules, 4 ounce or 16 ounce powder. Jurassic Green is just organic flash dried juice powder from alfalfa, barley grass, and non-hybrid wheatgrass, and very, very effective to meet that green need and broad micromineral need. The other one that I found beneficial sometimes is the vital herb, which also comes in capsules, liquid, kitty mints, or in the 16-ounce powder called vital herbs. And that starts with the Jurassic green and then adds rose hips, oat straw, dulse leaf, ginger root, dandelion root, kelp, spirulina, Irish moss, beetroot, nutritional yeast, cayenne pepper, and then blue violet and the carrot juice powders. Very effective for those, especially those that are missing some of those nutrients. We need to remember the principles and getting things in the right amount so that those principles work. The sufficiency principle is helpful and critical. And take the herbs in high enough amounts so that it'll rebuild completely the damage that is there. And take them as your body responds, even if it seems like it's too much. Use your muscle testing and take them that way. Remember that 6-in-1 principle also. 6 days of taking those herbs and nutrition. Take a day off from the herbal rebuilding. 6 weeks of taking all of that, 6 days on, 1 day off, and a week off. And then continue if it tests as needed. Rebuilding the nerves is completely possible. I want to mention a few things specific to teeth and some questions and solutions that you might find on the teeth area. First, we find the cause of the pain. Is it a lack of calcium? Then use the plant calcium, which we went over already. Are there toxins in the mouth or in the teeth? And that could include even dental toxins that have been introduced by a trained person in the dental field. Stop the toxins and clear the toxins. Are they irritated nerves? Check for relaxes or others. I have had myself and had clients where the teeth have been drilled on and shattered that nerve or shook that nerve so much that it was really irritated and then was very, very painful. Just taking a bunch of relaxes right after that dental work makes a huge difference in that one. Inflamed gums, water picking or using the water flosser is helpful in that one because it pops those things back out from underneath the gum line. And then I didn't list it here, but white oak bark packed into the gum line will clear an infected gum or inflamed gum line also. If it's an infection, we can completely clear even abscess teeth by finding the cause and finding the herbs that will clear that tooth infection. And yes, I need to do a totally different presentation on the teeth area. That is all on my presentation. I'm going to open it up for questions on that now and stop the screen share and just ask if we've got questions that need to be sent in. If you're seeing this as a video, please put the questions in the comments or send me a private message and ask the questions.